everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pat, and today I am bringing you my November wrap-up. I can't believe it's already November. November is already over. Wow. So technically it is December. Well, yeah, it is actually December. I don't know. So in November, I read a total of 8 books. I thought I would be doing 9 books, but I got the dates all wrong, but here we are. So, the first book that I read for this month is My Lady Jane. This is about Jane Grey, who is also known as the 9 Days Queen. So, she is the cousin of King Edward. She inherited the throne from King Edward, and she was only on the throne for 9 days. But this one is more of a fantasy retelling. It is actually a fantasy retelling, where in this story, there are these people who can turn into animals, and she marries Gifford, which is the son of pretty much, I think it's who would be considered a prime minister at the time. So she marries that person, and that person, unknown to a lot of people, can actually turn into a horse. And during this time, there are people who are, fighting for this people who can turn into animals, and there are those who think it's pretty much satanic and they're evil and they're demonic creatures. And so being a royal who can turn into an animal isn't really something amazing. This is about her story and what happens, because I know she gets beheaded. In history, she gets beheaded, and you have to find out what happens to her. And this is such a fun book. It's such a fun read. I flew through this book, and this isn't short. There's actually 500 pages of this, but you will fly through this book. I read this in like 2 days, I think, and I have a really busy schedule right now. So reading that in 2 days is like record at this point. So I really enjoyed that book. I rated it a 5 stars. Such a fun read, maybe 4.75. I mean, it's not the the most complex, intricate, like hardcore book, but it's really fun, and I had a good time reading it. It's like it's a perfect way to start the month. And the next one that I read is My Plain Jane, which is the second book in the Jane series. I don't know if this is going to be a trilogy. I believe it is, or a series. But yeah, I rated this a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this too, but I find... Oh, this Jane is by Jane Eyre. I haven't read Jane Eyre. I don't know what it's about. I didn't know what it was about until I read this. Sort of. Now I sort of know, because this is a retelling. So I enjoyed this book too. I also flew through this book. Fast read. I think it also has 500 pages. But I felt more invested in, like, I cared more about the characters in the previous book. But I still really enjoyed this. 4.5 stars. Amazing. And then I read Restore Me, which is the unexpected 4th book in the Shatter Me series now. I think there are going to be now 6-7 books in the series, aside from the trilogy. And getting into this book, it felt like it is actually written years after the last book in the trilogy. It has that feel, but this happens like a few days after the events in the last book. I enjoyed this book still. Tahira Mafi has a really beautiful way of writing that just speaks to me. And in this story, in this book now, we get a lot more into who Julianne is. We get more of her history, a little bit. We get an idea, or we get hints of who she might be. And there are twists in this book that I didn't see coming. Okay, the last book ended, and it's like open-ended, and we don't know what's going to happen next, but we know that it's going to be hard for Julianne, but she's going to succeed and be the best supreme commander there is. there ever was. It's so nostalgic to get back into this world, especially since it's been years since the last book ended. I could have read, reread the books, but I really wanted to get into it now, onto the book, like read it now. In this book, we don't really get a lot of action. I mean, we do, but it feels more like a resetting of the storyline. Like, we're going to have another epic 3-part series in this whole thing, and we're gearing up for it. We're setting the foundation. We are ready for it. I'm ready for it. I can't believe I need to wait a few more years for the series to end. Because if you guys don't know, I don't really like reading books in a series as they come out, because I tend to forget things because I read a lot of books. So I actually have a book right here. I don't know why I did. 4.5 stars. I need the next book now, because I need to find out what happens. So the next book that I read for this month is Emperor of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, and obviously I rated it 5 out of 5 stars, and I am one of the hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people who love this series. And I know some people who don't like this series, but I'm one of those who love this. And this is the 5th book in the series. I only read this now because, I wait for a series to finish before I binge read everything. Because if not, I'll forget everything. Every time I read a Sarah J. Maas book, books in the series, I haven't really read any other Sarah J. Maas books outside of the series, I'm always mind blown. I'm always laughing out loud, crying, and expressing my shock every single time, because I never guess what's going to happen next. Like, you would think one thing would be like the main conflict in the story, and then it gets resolved, and so now you have a new conflict, and a new conflict. It's just so complex and intricate, and I love it so much. I'm here for it. Yes. So 5 out of 5 stars. I love this book series. Can you tell? And when I finished this book, I was so heartbroken that I needed to read the rest of the series, because I know that this next book, hold on, Tower of Dawn, is going to be told at the same time as the events here in Empire of Storm, but focusing on a different character who is, on his own journey. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah. Okay. So because this is, a book that is going to be set around the same time Emperor of Storms is, I'm like, I need to finish this so I can get to the last book. So, because I needed to find out what happens next, because I'm whoa. Okay, so of course I read this next, Tower of Dawn. I thought that by the time I finished this, because I ordered Kingdom of Ash, or no wait, I ordered Kingdom of Ash after I finished this, because I'm 100 something plus in my library, 100 something plus in place on holds in my library, so I couldn't wait for 2 months for the book to get to me. So I bought it right after finishing this, or was it after Emperor of Storms? I think it was after this. I was like, I can wait a week, because that was around Thanksgiving, so holidays, you don't really get your thing shipped as fast. Okay, so this is focusing on a character that a lot of people have already said that this character, they used to love him. I did too. And then he just started making the worst decisions ever. And, some people started to dislike him. Some people hated him. I disliked him. I'm just I'm over it. Just go do what you need to do, but don't be like a center. But here, this is his story. because something happened to him. And I do like Emperor of Storms better. A lot of people like this one better, but I liked Emperor of Storms better than this. A lot of people said that in this book he gets redeemed, or they love him again. And I don't necessarily love him again, but at least I don't feel so strongly, like negatively about him. So that's a good thing. But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, you're back in the, in my good graces. You can stay, but like, I still have, at the time I finished this, I'm just like, I need some more time to forgive you for everything that you did. Okay, so while I waited for Kingdom of Ash to arrive, I was debating on what I should read, and I decided to read this one, The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. I rated it a 3 out of 5 stars. This is one of those books that wanted to be something, but it failed. I wanted more from this book. I felt like it could have been a lot better. Probably could have even gotten to 4.5 stars, but it felt flat for me. I felt I didn't really connect with the characters that much. And there was a point where it was being told because this is about Monica. Monica's sister died a few years from when this book is set, along with I think 4 other cheerleaders, and her sister is one of the 5 who died. So after that, they didn't have any cheerleaders anymore, and they didn't all die at the same time, but like in the span of like 3 months, is it? All 5 of the cheerleaders died. And the last one of them to die, I think, was her sister, Monica's sister, and it was decided as suicide by the police. And she didn't believe that her sister would commit suicide. So it's always been in her mind that her sister was probably murdered. And for her, the coincidence of all 5 cheerleaders dying, that's like, how? She believes that all of them got murdered. You're going to find out if they are actually killed or not. It didn't really intrigue me in because I didn't really connect with the characters and the story. I just like, okay, and when I got resolved and things got more answers, I'm just like, okay. So the next book that I read is The Miseducation of Cameron Post. Now, when I got into this, I didn't think that it was going to be as long as it was, with like really small fonts and like as dense as it actually was. So it took me quite some time to finish the book. And in the beginning, I was like, this is the type of book that is dense without it needing to be dense. Eventually, as I read more of it and finished it, I changed my mind. It's still really dense, and there's a lot of long parts that in the beginning I thought wasn't really needed, but now you're a 4.5 stars, and it is a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed that book. I want to watch the movie now, but I want you to find time to do that. And the last book that I read is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is one of the books that a lot of people talk about, and it's sci-fi and it's about gaming. I'm not really a gaming kind of person, but I still really enjoy this book. I didn't really read this in like physical form. I read it in audiobook, like 95% audio. And I'm the type of person who I think I'm just not used to reading audiobooks, and I find it like really slow to do, but I also didn't feel like actually reading the book once I started the audiobook, because the audiobook is really good, and a lot of people did say that the audiobook is really good. That's why I decided to, I could also read that in audiobook. But yeah, I really enjoyed that book. Even though I'm not really much into gaming, I still really did enjoy that book. How many times have I said enjoy? I rated a 4.5 stars. And because I'm not used to, listening to audiobooks, there are some parts that I tuned out. Not because it was interesting, but because I'm just not use to, you know, listening to audiobooks. Like if I'm listening to something, I can just be not doing anything. But at the same time, if I'm doing something, there's a tendency for me to space out and like ignore one of the two things that I'm doing, which in my case is reading the book. So there are some parts that I had to go back, but eventually I'm just like, it's fine, let's just move on. So still a really good book. I would recommend, if you're someone who is like me, who can't really get into audiobooks, maybe try this one, because I enjoyed it. I don't think I really missed a lot. And at the end of the day, it's really my fault because I do that. But I do tune things out when, you know, I'm doing two things, but at the same time, I can't just be like looking at something from afar and just listening. And I read this during Thanksgiving, so I'm not in the bus, I'm not on my lunch. I didn't really have a mindless task to do. So yeah, those are all the books that I read for this month. I thought, I'm currently reading, where is it, Kingdom of Ash. I thought I would be finished before the month ends. I wanted to include that here. I'm like 250 pages away, and I'm definitely gonna finish that today. I'm gonna read it after work. So this month I read a whole 8 books, just like last month, and I think that's still a really good pace for me. With things being really busy, I had a meeting last night, 2 meetings for work. Well, 1 meeting for work and another one for the house that we're turning by. So it's been really busy this past couple of weeks. So yeah, I think overall my month of reading is really good because I have a lot of 4 and up books. I mean, I have 5-star books too, like 3, 4, 5-star books, 5 even, and 1 3-star book. So amazing reading month for me. That's it for my video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoy this video, please give it a like, and you can check out some of my other videos right here, and tell me what you guys also enjoyed reading this month, so I can maybe add it to my future reading. And if you guys have read some of these books or read it at the same time, tell me what you guys thought, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye!